All right, so today we are diving into generative genius, and wow, this slide deck is packed. It's really got me thinking. Like those chimpanzee pictures, the ones where he's painting like a masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious, right?
Mm.
But also kind of makes you wonder, like, are we really getting to that point where AI can be that creative?
It really is incredible to think about. I mean, we might not have chimpanzees cranking out masterpieces quite yet, but the speed that AI is developing at is really something. Especially when you look at the creative stuff. There's just so much buzz around generative AI right now.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, we're already seeing how it's changing things in so many industries, not just in tech anymore.
Yeah, for sure. And this slide deck is from September 2024, so it's not even that old. But even in that short time, it feels like things have just exploded. I mean, look at this slide with all the logos on it. Coca-Cola, Durex, Papa John's. It's not just the tech giants anymore. Everyone's trying to get in on this.
It really shows you how versatile it can be. It's not just limited to one industry, Like, take Coca-Cola. They're using AI to try and personalize their marketing and even come up with new flavors. It's like using AI to understand what people want and then giving it to them in a way that feels like it was made just for them.
It's wild, like
Yeah.
giving companies a super-powered brainstorming partner or
You
something.
think?
But okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, could we rewind for a sec? For those listening who are maybe still trying to grasp what generative AI even is, how would you explain it so it just clicks?
Okay, imagine you have a computer and you give it a ton of building blocks. These could be anything: words, pictures, music, you name it. The computer looks at all these building blocks and it figures out the patterns, the connections, the rules, and then it uses all that to create something totally new. So instead of like writing a melody yourself, you feed the computer a bunch of melodies and it uses that to write a brand new one.
Okay, I'm with you. So it's not just about making art, though, right? I saw that slide with the rocket launch, the underwater scene, that one of ancient Rome. It seems like it can do way more than just make pretty pictures or catchy tunes.
Absolutely. Those images really get at how it can be used for all kinds of complex problems. Like, imagine engineers using it to simulate rocket launches and test different designs before they even build anything. Or scientists visualizing underwater ecosystems to study marine life in totally new ways. Or even historians recreating ancient cities.
Like giving people a whole new set of eyes to see the world with.
Yeah.
So what are some of the tools that are out there? Let's start with text generation, since that's something most people use every single day.
For sure. So with text, Google Gemini is huge. Think about how often you use Google search. Well, generative AI is already changing how you find information online, making those search results feel more like a conversation.
Whoa, yeah, when you put it like that, it's pretty incredible. Like having a back and forth with Google, getting answers tailored to you instead of just a big wall of links.
Exactly. And then you've got image generation, which is huge right now. DLE, Adobe Firefly, Midjourney. These are some of the big names. You basically type in what you want to see, and the AI creates it based on your description, like that chimpanzee painting we talked about. That's a great example of what these tools can do.
And we're not talking about just simple little images either. These things are crazy detailed, realistic. Sometimes they're even kind of surreal. Honestly, it's kind of mind-blowing. But all this creativity has to have some kind of cost, right?
Yeah.
What about the impact on the environment? All this AI-generated stuff.
Yeah, that's a really important thing to think about. All this digital art and text and music, it takes a lot of energy to create, more than you'd think.
Yeah, I was looking at that stat about the energy it takes to generate an email with AI. Kind of mind-blowing. It's like we're trading digital efficiency for a bigger environmental footprint.
Exactly. It's like this, to put it in perspective, generating just one email, say like 100 words, it can use as much energy as powering 14 LED light bulbs for an hour.
14 light bulbs for one email.
Yeah.
That's going to add up so fast when you think about how much AI content is being created every single day.
Oh, absolutely. Think about this. If just 1 in 10 working Americans used AI to write just one email a week for a year, the electricity used would be enough to power every single house in Washington, D.C. for 20 days straight.
Wow. Okay, that puts it in perspective for sure. And it's not even just the energy, right? There's the water usage too.
You're right. That's huge. Sticking with that same scenario, that 1 in 10 Americans writing one AI email a week, the amount of water needed for that would be enough to supply every household in Rhode Island for a day and a half.
Yeah.
It really makes you stop and think about how we use these tools.
Right. Like Is it really worth it to fire off that quick AI email when a regular message would be way easier on the planet?
That's the balance we have to figure out. And speaking of balancing acts, this whole rise of generative AI has really shaken up the creative world. Remember that part of the slide deck that talked about the three types of creators? The polished creators, the weirdcore surrealists, and the non-adapters?
Oh, yeah. Those were interesting. Can you break those down a bit? That
Yeah.
whole weird course surrealist thing definitely caught my attention.
You got it. So the Polish creators, they're basically using AI to make their existing work even better. Refining it, taking it to the next level, not replacing what they do, but making it stronger. Like that image of the volcano, remember that one? Made with things like Adobe Video and Minimax, a combination of AI tools.
Oh, yeah. That one was stunning, like something straight out of a dream.
Totally. It shows you how AI can help create things that would have been near impossible before. Then you've got your weird core surrealists, and they're all about pushing boundaries, getting experimental. Remember that image? Kind of creepy with the distorted faces, like a digital collage, but kind of messed up.
Yeah, it was captivating for sure, but also a little bit, what am I even looking at?
Exactly. And that's weird core in a nutshell. It's about using AI to create art that's strange, dreamlike, kind of unsettling. And it makes you question what we even consider beautiful. Then you've got the non-adapters, and that name is pretty self-explanatory.
So are these the artists who are like throwing down their paintbrushes and taking up protest signs?
Not really. It's more that they're sticking to what they know, at least for now. Maybe they're hesitant about AI, prefer the human touch, or are worried about the implications, kind of like that image of the sad little travel house gathering dust.
Ah, right. That one definitely gave off a the old ways are dying kind of vibe.
Exactly. And it brings up a really interesting question. In a world where AI can create these hyper-realistic, personalized experiences, what happens to industries like travel? Like, why go all the way to Rome when you can experience a perfect AI version from your couch?
Whoa. Yeah, that's a trip. On the one hand, it could make travel possible for people who can't physically do it. But man, what about places that depend on tourism? What happens to them?
Huge questions. And it's not just travel. Think about music, film, journalism, advertising. AI is already changing everything, and it's both super exciting and a little scary.
Talk about disruption, right? And speaking of which, that brings us to video, movies. Runway, the company that teamed up with Lionsgate,
hmm
they seem to be leading the pack there.
That's big deal, yeah.
Lionsgate, they're major players in Hollywood.
Huge deal. Runway's making some seriously powerful tools for creating video with AI. And the fact that Lionsgate is on board tells you that even Hollywood's paying attention. Think about it. Special effects made by AI, even entire scenes. It's wild.
It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. But we've talked about text, images, even video now. What about audio? I feel like that gets overlooked sometimes.
You're right. Audio doesn't always get the spotlight, but it's a big deal, especially these days with podcasts, audiobooks, even just our virtual assistants.
And I bet AI audio could be huge for accessibility too, right?
Yeah.
Making info and entertainment available for people who can't see as well, for example.
100%. And we're already seeing some seriously impressive stuff. Companies like 11 Labs and Jukebox are making AI-generated voices and music that sound unbelievably real. You've probably already heard AI audio without even knowing it.
Get out, no way.
Totally. It's everywhere. Personalized voiceovers for ads, sound effects for video games. It's everywhere.
That's mind-blowing. But with all this talk about AI changing the creative game, blurring the lines between what's human and what's machine, it makes you wonder, what's next? Where do we even go from here? It really does feel like we're on the verge of something huge, like we're standing right on the edge, but we can't quite see what's over the horizon.
That's a great way to put it. Remember that slide, the chimpanzee, the one where he's painting the state of Gen AI? I feel like that kind of sums up where we're at right now. We're still figuring things out, experimenting, but there's something big brewing.
That chimp has come a long way from those early slides. Now he's painting about the state of AI. It's pretty wild.
Hmm.
It all comes back to that quote, though. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic.
Arthur C. Clarke, he knew what he was talking about. Generative AI, it's starting to feel like that, like actual magic. I mean, you could just type a few words into something like Midjourney, and boom, it creates this incredibly detailed image. It's mind-blowing.
Like having a genie in your computer or something. But as amazing as it all is, we're still in the early days, right? What gets you most fired up about the future of generative AI?
What excites me is the potential. This isn't about replacing what humans can do. It's about making us even better. Imagine architects using AI to design buildings that are not only beautiful, but good for the environment. Or musicians using it to write music that pushes the boundaries of what we thought was possible.
It's like breaking all the rules, opening up a whole new world of creative possibilities.
Exactly. And I think this tech has the power to make creativity accessible to everyone. It doesn't matter what your background is or your skill level, anyone can express themselves in ways they never imagined.
It's like we're giving everyone the tools to tell their stories. Whether it's with a paintbrush, a microphone, a movie camera, it doesn't matter. But like any tool, we have to be smart about how we use it.
Couldn't agree more. AI-generated content is getting so good, so realistic, it's hard to tell what's made by a person and what's not. So we need to be really careful, think critically about what we see and hear online.
So it's not enough to just be amazed by the technology. We also need to understand its limits, where things could go wrong.
For sure. The ethics, the impact on the environment, the possibility of misuse. We need to be talking about all of that right alongside all the amazing advancements.
This has been an amazing deep dive, honestly. Generative AI, it's not just about algorithms and ones and zeros. It's about creativity and the future of, well, everything.
It really is. And this is just the beginning. Who knows what the future holds?
This is definitely a conversation we're going to have to revisit, that's for sure. All right, everyone, thanks for joining us on this incredible deep dive into generative genius. Until next time, stay curious.